Hi, welcome back. My name is Tomislav and we are continuing this video from the last one, the unboxing of lovely gift from Vicmarc. Just before I continue on with the video, I want to clarify something real quick. So 4 of these chuck here, Vicmarc provided. The VM120 chuck was sent to me by Craft Supply USA, and 2 of the chucks I bought with my own money. So those 2 that I bought was the first Vicmarc chucks that I ever got, and I was just thrilled how they were performing and everything. And also I got recommendation from my mentor to step up to these Vicmarc chucks and jaws, and I never looked back from that point. So in this video I want to dive a little bit deeper on why I think that these are great chucks, and also why one of these types here are a great first buy chuck. Isn't this a really nice sight to see? Now towards the end of the video I'm going to show you how to set calipers so you have 0 marks with your chuck jaws. Now this is my collection. There is one more chuck that was a gift from a lovely viewer, and I'm going to reveal more in that unboxing video that once the chuck arrives. So one more chuck is on the way, and I think what I'm going to do is bought one more with bigger dovetail jaws for big plates, let's say, so I can grip foot instead of making greases on the bottom. So but that's not necessary at this point. So do you really need all these chucks? No, the answer is no. You can get away with maybe 2-3 and switch jaws around. Now if you're like me, one of the worst jobs that I could possibly do is switching out jaws. It's not my favorite job to change out jaws, and in terms of cost, sure, this is a lot more costly option, but in terms of time, how much I save time, this is for me at least very reasonable approach. My collection contains now VM90 chuck, VM100 chuck, so this is 90 mil diameter, this is 100 mil diameter, and the VM120 chuck, which is 120 mil diameter. I didn't get weight on VM120 chuck with standard jaws. I would say or guess it's around maybe a little less than 3 kilos, something like that. It's a quite heavy chuck, so you would need a little bit bigger lathe, at least 1 horsepower to accommodate what you're going to put in the chuck itself. The biggest difference between these 2 chucks, VM90 and VM100, apart from diameter of the body and weight, is how they operate. So a VM90 chuck is a little bit, let's say, old-fashioned, with Tommy bars or levers, and VM100 and 120 and 150, so the rest of the Vicmarc lineup uses hex key or Allen key, whatever it's called. Now what I really like is a straight key, like so. Some or most of the manufacturers today or other brands provide a ball on the bottom, like so, and I don't like that. I have one of the keys like this made, and for only one specific purpose. So let's say I want to make a bigger ball, and what usually I do is first grab by the tenon and make a little recess on inside of the ball, and then I expand the jaws inside the ball and I can finish all the outside. Now in some cases, if the ball is quite deep, all the chuck will be inside, so basically the rim of the ball would be somewhere around here. So what this key with the ball will provide is a little bit of a pivot on the outside. Hope you can see that angle, so I can miss the rim of the ball but still operate the chuck and open and close, versus with a straight key it just goes straight in. But what I really like about these, and these are used most of the time, well, not this one but this one here, inspired by my mentor Richard Raffan, This sort of let's call it L shape key, you can open and close the jaws much faster, but you have to be careful because you can also put a lot more torque on the chuck so you don't break the gears on the inside. So this one again has the straight and just operates lovely. VM90 chuck has a lever, and I have several of these levers, and this one has a bigger diameter on the bottom. This one is to take the VM120 chuck off because it has an insert as well as this one here. So I just painted the handles here differently so I can distinguish them on the holder nice and quick. So you can use 2 or 1 tummy bar. So if you have a spindle lock, that's better because then you can only operate with one of the levers. Now I'm showing you the differences, which are the chuck body diameter and also the weight. VM90 is a little bit lighter, and also how they operate. So levers versus hex key. Now where these are the same, pretty much exactly the same, is the jaws travel. So that's one of the things that I really like apart from the build quality from Vicmarc, and that is that they, on most of their jaws, they have 40 mil, from 38 to 40 mil travel. So that's a wide range that you can grip. So you can see I can expand them really far apart. And if I took out the safety pin, which is in one of these slots, I can expand a little bit further out. And I've done that once I had only 2 of these. At one point I did that for a brief time until one of these fly out. So don't do that. There is a safety pin on purpose on the inside. So now let's say we can grip 90 mil diameter. Now, like I was trying to say, it may not be the best possible grip because we only have 8 corners digging in. But if you cut your tenons really nice and precise, nice and clean like here, then those 8 corners will grip nicely, and you won't have much of an issue. And I'll show you this one here. Although it's an older type of chuck, let's say, it operates the fastest on the market. So you'll see how fast you can go from fully closed to fully open. But I have to be on the lathe. Now this is the first video that I ever done light research for. So you can see here I've done my homework on in terms of just prices on that day on the stores that I use. So it may vary where you live or something like that, but this is just a rough estimate on prices, but also on the travel and the weight and so on. So like I said, some of the prices may vary depending when I'm going to release this, but also where you are, in what region, what continent, and so on. So I just want to point out that also, if you want, you can buy directly from Vicmarc. So they have a website and also web shop, and if you're not certain what to get, you can also send them an email, and I'm sure they're going to help you out. So in one of the stores here, the VM90 chuck cost 234, let's round it up to 235 euros. So again, it's 1.7 kilo heavy chuck, and also it has a chuck travel of 38 to 40 mil, depending on the jaw that you put on. The VM100 chuck is 3 euros more expensive at the same shop, so not much of a difference. But it's slightly heavier. It's 2.1 kilos, but also has from 38 to 40 mil travel over jaws, again depending on which jaw you put on. So they are quite similar in prices. The only difference is, like I said, in how they operate, how much they weigh, and also the chuck body diameter. Some of the other options that you might have or might consider before this chuck, and that is, let's say, from Record Power you have SC3, which is 90 mil chuck, same as this one here, or SC4, which is comparable to VM100 with 100 mil chuck body, and also the new one, the Victory. All three of these chucks are great chucks, really nice company, nice build quality as well, but for me at least, what it's not great at, and that is again that jaw travel. It only has roughly 20 mil of travel, so potentially you can grip 40 mil up to 60 mil, and then you have to switch up jaws. If you have slightly bigger tenon, let's say 65, then you have to switch to something else, but they are a little bit cheaper. For SC3 chuck, which is 90 mil body chuck like this one, is 150 euros, so it's a little bit cheaper, and also it's a little bit lighter at 1.5 kilos. The SC4 is 178 euros, and it's a 100 mil chuck body. I couldn't find the weight, but I would guess it's similar to 2 kilos around that there. And Victory, I didn't find any data. I would guess that it's based on SC4 chuck, and again, if you go with any of the other brands here, you won't get it wrong. But again, I hope I'm going to explain in this video why I prefer using VICMARK. We also have another popular chuck brand, and that is Nova or Technatool. So Nova G3 Protec has quite a bit of accessories like a faceplate, ring, and so on. Same weight, 1.5 kilos, 90 mil chuck body. It has 23 mil of chuck travel, so a little bit more than Record Power, and it's slightly cheaper at 129 euros. To my understanding, you can switch jaws from Record Power to Nova. You just have to look up. I think there is in the manual itself on both of these manufacturers. If you switch one of the jaws numbers, then it adds up and lines up correctly. Bigger Nova chuck, which is 100 mil diameter, is Nova Super 2 or something like that, also Protec. 159 euros, it's around 2 kilos, and also 23 mil of travel. So with the standard jaws you can grip from 52 mil to 75 mil. So again, good range, but not the best, or not as versatile for me at least. Next one, One Way, also great company, great build quality. They have, like I said, but I think it's 100 mil diameter, also with levers, and it weighs, let me just see, around 2 kilos, and it has slightly bigger travel with 25 mil, and I found the price here in Europe for 129 euros, so quite cheap, but that was also with standard jaws, and so again you can grip from 50 to 75 mil tenon, let's say. I did find also Talon, or Talon, whatever it's pronounced, that is 90 mil diameter chuck body like this one here, 1.5 kilos, and it cost 220 euros here in Europe. So also same chuck travel of 25 mil. Now, two more manufacturers that I really like, but they are actually quite expensive, but they're also really nicely built chucks, and that is Axminster and Sorby. Now, Sorby Patriot, I believe, is also 100 mil diameter chuck, and it has 26 mil of travel, so slightly more than the other here, apart from VICMARK, but I only found price of 400 euros for chuck and standard jaws, so it's quite more expensive. Again, I know they are built really nicely, nice and solid and everything, but you have to consider the price as well. And now the Axminster has a really nice, you can really see, and I did test out one of their chucks. I had the opportunity, and it's really nicely built, but also it's quite expensive as a Sorby from 345 euro for the XK100 model. Now, regarding all these prices, features like travel range and build quality and everything, my only suggestion would be, just because I'm making video about the Vicmarc chuck, that doesn't mean that you have to go buy them, but my recommendation is always with Vicmarc. But what I would give you as a suggestion to completely avoid, and that is AliExpress chucks or Wish.com chucks or anything similar like that. Wherever you see, I think on this list Nova is the cheapest, so if you see half of that price chuck with all the jaws and accessories and everything, just avoid that. If you consider this hunk of metal here hold a ball that you spin at, let's say, 1000 RPM, so let's say you put a big ball on, would you really trust some sort of cheaply made chuck to hold that ball properly on? Now, it may hold it for a few times, but I really don't trust them long term. Now, all of these manufacturers here that I mentioned, so again, Vicmarc, Record Power, Nova or Technotool, One Way, Axminster and Sorby, I would trust all of these chucks here. So the moral is, or the point of the story is, just completely avoid cheaply made, like I said, Wish.com or similar sites, chucks. Just avoid them at all cost. So again, you can get away with cheap tools like cheap spindle gouges, cheap carbide tools or whatever. You can get away with that, but you cannot get away with cheap chucks or cheap lathes. So there is a difference between cheap and getting a good price, a good deal on specific tools. So that will be my greatest or the biggest recommendation, just to avoid the cheap stuff altogether. So just stick to these brands that I mentioned. So the biggest reason I like using shark jaws is their versatility. So they can hold just the same as, let's say, these shallow dovetail jaws, but they have much more versatility because, again, you can hold into, let's say, a bottom of the lid in a hole or some sort, or grip a tall tenon, like if you saw 2 videos back, that ball with a tall foot, so I can grip and nothing is in the way of in terms of height here, so as long as it fits on the inside. So so again, I can grip now with these pin jaws. I can grip really small tenons for small balls and just clean up after the teeth marks. But also I have now 4 set diameters, and I have calipers also set to these measurements, these inside diameters, and I will not leave a mark, so I can have beads or tenon or some sort detail that I can grab and take off the chuck and won't leave any mark, and I can continue on faster with the work and won't have to, let's say, take away the tenon after. And I can always remove the tenon later if that bothers me. So again, I would always opt for one of these taller jaws. So other manufacturers have something similar. I'm not sure if these are original shark jaws, the first one, but I really like these one because, again, if you look at the profile here, it's not super sharp corner on the outside, but it's nice and crisp, and also on the inside. So you can really grab a small ridge, small tenon. I've grabbed with one of these chucks 1 mil tenon, and it was at one point even smaller. It was just a tiny little bit of groove that I hold for one particular job. So these are really top notch. So just to show you here, I made this real quick. So if I'm making bowls, boxes or anything like that, now I can grip, you can see 4 steps, 4 details of different measurement, different diameters, nice and clean without leaving any measurement. That's using only shark jaws, 4 shark jaws that I have, but also I have this ridge for this bigger or biggest that I have set of jaws, and also I have 3 other options, these 3 steps here to hold any certain diameter that I need. So quite a lot of options here, and pretty much anything from now I can hold pretty much anything from 6 mil up to 120 mil, actually even more once we open up these here. So these can hold in a perfect circle, so like I said, 120 mil, and we have roughly 40 mil travel on this chuck as well, so 160 mil diameter. Look at this size now. So I hope you can see now the benefits of this big of a travel, and it really is super versatile when you have that option. Why I think that these are great first buy, if you're just starting out and you bought your own first, let's say small, mini or midi lathe even, and you don't know which chuck to get. So again, these are a little bit expensive than the other brands, but if you're just getting, let's say one, I'm just going to grab this one here just for the, let's say, chuck here, and you planning on making a smaller stuff, so you can grip here from 40 mil up to 80 mil diameter tenon or whatever you're doing. So it's much more versatile versus if you have only 20 mil of travel, so you can only grip 40 mil up to 60 mil. So you are quite limited in that regard. So I would always, like I said, opted for bigger travel and shark jaws as well. So let's say a scenario where you bought your own first mini lathe or even something up to midi lathe size, and now you're in a search for one chuck that you can use for a while until you get, let's say, the other one. I would highly recommend one of the VM90 or VM100 chuck. These are quite similar in prices. These are a little bit more harder to find, because most of the chucks nowadays have the key, but again, if you're not in a personal preference to use only the key, like hex key, and you don't mind using Tommy bars, I would highly recommend this one. It's lighter, especially for smaller underpowered lathes. This will spin without any problems, and you have a wide range of jaws that you can buy for this one. Just to show you how this operates, so the only feature that I don't like about this lathe is it doesn't have nice switch, fast switch to lock the spindle. It has a threaded bolt here that you can screw into for the indexing pin, but it's not as fast, and yeah, I just then use this here. But if you have a switch like record power lathes have, or Vicmarc lathes, or Harvey even has a really nice and fast switch, so you can basically flick with one thumb, one finger, you can flick the lock on, and it's really nice and fast. So let's see this chuck here. So this is again VM90 chuck. First, let's just put it on, give it a little flick at the end so it stays on the lathe if you turn in the reverse, and just lock the spindle. And when you lock the spindle, now you can use only one lever to open and close the jaws. And this blank here, I can grip by this one of these tenons here. So give it a little rotation, a little twist, and that's it. And let's say if you want to take it out, again, it's a nice fast operation. It's one step more, let's say, than the other chucks, but again, it's not that big of a deal. If I pull towards me, I will expand the jaws. If I push away from me, I will squeeze the jaws. So like so, and just like that. So again, it's really nice and quick way. Lock the spindle, and now we can expand, and that's it. Runs nice and true. So although it's one step more, it's not that slow in action. So you can take it out, and also just to show you how you can really quickly, the fastest way to open up and close the jaws, and this type of lever chucks will only do that. So just hold by the ring here and turn the spindle by the hand, and you can see that closes and open up the jaws extremely fast. So if you have to switch for different kind of the diameters real fast, that's a really nice feature. And again, to take it out, you use the same bar. That's it. Now I hope that you understand that throughout my YouTube, let's say, endeavor, I only proposed or suggested or recommend tools that I really believe in, and VICMARK is one of them. And if you ever decide to get one of the VICMARK chucks or tools, or if you have the budget to buy the lathe, I mean, that's top tier. But the only reason I would sell my Twister XL lathe that I have now would be to get a VICMARK lathe, either VL200 or VL300 lathe. Those are top tier lathes, but that's for the future. And yeah, you never know, you can always dream. But I have VICMARK chucks, and I really love them. And if you ever decided to get one, you'll never regret it. You'll just enjoy using them. Record Power or Techna Tool or One Way, Axminster or Sorby, all of these are really top-notch chucks. And if you get one of these, you won't regret it. It's a great buy. Just again, stay away from wish.com and AliExpress. So yeah, that's on my recommendation and why I use these chuck that I use. And again, thank you for watching, and see you next time.